make sure it's all good to go. Yeah, I'm good.
Dude, I don't think I have the energy to write an intro.
Nah, don't worry about it. I got it.
Really? You're going to write it?
Nah, I'll just throw something together and post.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, I got this. Trust me.
You've just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
And we're tired.
I don't know why. I think maybe the weather change and it's cold today. I've been cold all day long.
2 hours a night.
I sleep 2 to 3 hours a night.
Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
That probably not. It's probably the weather.
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, our news this week is brought to us by Crave Cookies. Open your hole and stuff in a cookie. It's Crave.
What? Actually, that is going to be the new slogan. Open your hole and shove in a cookie. Stuff in a cookie. Yeah, sorry.
Stuff your holes full of cookies at Crave. Crave Cookies.
Cookie for every hole.
This is the last week they're going to sponsor our podcast. But for now, Crave Cookies, you go to cravecookies.com. They are a really cool cookie shop, kind of spread all over the U.S. Lots of locations here in Utah that we love. They have a rotating menu each week, and this week we have a sneak peek for next week. So we'll tell you if you're looking at cravecookiesmenu.com on the cravecookies.com site, you'll see one menu, and we're going to tell you what it's going to look like starting, I think, Thursday or Friday,
I think he kicks in a new menu.
Friday.
So Saturday, they've got like crossover day.
Yeah, so when Trent last week was like, oh, why are we doing pies early? We're doing pies before Thanksgiving. It's like, I think he confused himself because
I don't think he knew when Thanksgiving was. I think it crept up on him the same way it crept up on me. I was like, that's this week?
Yeah. So the week of Thanksgiving, as Trent laid out last week, is actually pie week. So they have a bunch of pies right now.
Yeah.
Pie cookies. But if you go next week, you can get a carrot cake cookie, which is apparently a new recipe.
I don't think I've had that one.
This one says Brookie, maybe. I love that. Rockstar, Scotch a Rookie,
fast and loose with his sneak peek of the week,
and chilled Oreo. Dude, we get a look behind the counter at Crave, and dude, it is a fucking mess sometimes. Trent is just flying by the seat of his pants.
Sometimes Trent tests out his AI stuff with us, and it is an absolute joy.
It's an eye-opener. So get your cookies this week. Get your pie cookies next week. Get your carrot cake on. Hey, get your Crave on. The gaming industry's Grim Reaper Embracer Group has laid off 904 workers to date, including 700 game developers. More than 700. This is like the up to, since they started doing these layoffs, that's a total of 700 game devs that have lost their jobs under the Embracer Group umbrella. Now, I was pretty surprised the total numbers, because maybe it doesn't seem as big. It still seems like a big number as a percentage, but they had originally a total headcount of 16,605.
It's across all of their studios.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. And of those, 11,356 were game developers. Now they're sitting at 15,701 with 10,600 of those being game developers. So, 11,000 and they lose 700. You're like, it's not that. That's a big fucking number. That's still a big number.
5%. 5%.
Yeah.
And you're like, 5% is not that big. When it comes to layoffs, 5% is big.
That's a problem.
Like
that's
if they come to me and say, hey, you need to do 5% layoffs, we're sitting there going, I don't know how. I don't know where I don't know where to get these people from.
But the finance guys are happy because this represents, quote, a reduction of $283 million in capital expenditures. So That's the salaries that they seem to think that they're going to be saving on. I do have to wonder how much does that help? That's a one-time thing, though. You get like that one-time
Yeah,
boost,
it's not
and
like
you are
a
paying for it for years because of, like Peterson said, you gutted your workforce by 5%.
and I think a lot of analysts would argue that it's just a short-term on the short-term books boost because long term you're losing a lot more. And plus if you ever get it back into feast mode, you're hiring again, all of that
So
cost is
expensive.
yeah, like it's so yeah, that's I think that's a what is it, a red herring,
Mhm.
right? Where like it is on the books right now a cost savings. But if you put that over like the 5 year, you're losing money laying people off. Um, I just want to know, like, they keep calling all of the we're just doing some restructuring. Like that's like what was wrong with their structures? Every game studio's structure was real bad. That's what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't have I don't know. Because a lot of restructuring happening. We're rebuilding, restructuring.
Yeah, I've always noticed in restructuring traditionally, like a building or some sort of edifice, if you're improving it, you just start removing things, right? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, like let's upgrade that skyscraper. Let's make it a little bit taller. The first thing you do is remove parts of it, like big
They're
struts,
they're
load
all
bearing
going for the
beams,
load bearing beams.
because you got to
Ugh.
make room for to make some more money later. I don't know what kind
They're
of restructuring that is.
They're going for open concept offices,
Yeah,
and
so you just
there's too
remove the
many
beams.
people. There's too many people in there in the way.
Oh,
They're really going for that open concept. I think it's pretty popular right
yeah.
now. From what I hear.
I have had HR people at jobs where I worked that it seemed like the one task they attacked with the most zeal and vigor was the seating chart.
Oh,
I'm like, what do you fucking do here? You, as the HR person, you seem to just love the seating chart.
oh man, we gave that to one of our senior managers, and we're like, "You're in charge of this."
He just bit it. He just
I don't.
chomped right onto it, right? Like a dog with
Yeah,
a
I was
bone.
like, "I'm not doing this. This sounds as a nightmare." All the stuff that like the HR lady at your company does, I've about passed that off to somebody else. Like the party planning, not me. I'm not
Mm,
doing it. Not me. I hate that. I'm not doing the
no,
seating chart. I don't do any of that stuff. Just pass it all off.
smart.
Restructuring, not me.
Yeah, this isn't. Well, don't worry, because if you worked at Embracer, they'd restructure you right out.
Yeah, I'd be restructured.
Oh, and while we're at it, Amazon Games has also laid off 180 employees. That seems
More, right? Isn't this 180
what?
more?
Yes, this is not a light to date thing. This just happened. The news came in an internal email from Christoph Hartmann, who's the vice president of Amazon Games. He said, quote, Amazon is listening to its customers and will be focusing more on its resource free games that Amazon Prime members receive each month. He says that's what's causing the layoffs. Is that this is what customers want. They want
Yeah.
us to fire your ass and make cheap, free, freemium games. That's what the customers want. And you know what? You might be right. Customers
They saw Game Mill and they were really like,
like
I
those
like
guys
what
are
they're
making
doing.
money hand over fist.
Does
The
they
best
say restructuring in here anywhere? I'm trying to look.
Probably, dude. This is the real gut punch from Christoph Hartmann, who honestly, until this point, he may be shitbird of the week. You tell me, Peterson. He says that Amazon was quote proud of the work that was done by the affected employees, but added quote after further evaluation of our businesses, it became clear that we need to focus our resources and efforts to deliver great games to players now and in the future. So you said you guys did a good job and we're proud of it, but after looking at our business, it became clear that we need to focus our resources to deliver great games. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys were proud of the work you're doing, but we actually need to make good games. That's what we found as a business that makes games. They got to be good. You can probably fill in the gaps there between those two sentences. Just saying.
I love to. I just love.
Psycho.
I love all this because again, we've talked about this so many times, but it is not the game developers' decision on direction of games,
Or
like,
even if it's good.
ever,
No.
ever. They are just doing what they're told to do. Most of the time, they know it's bad. Amazon Game Studio has made some real doozies and deleted some real doozies.
Dude,
Yeah.
we made that mistake on this podcast with the King Kong game. We're like, what were these game developers doing? What's going on in Argentina or wherever the fuck, Chile? And then we come to find out, guess what? It wasn't their fault. It never is. It's never the game developers' fault. It's always the executives of the publishers. It's always the idiots at the top. It's never the game devs, but the people that always bite the bullet are the game devs. So 180 of I didn't even know. I think it was north of 1,000 employees, but that is a considerable.
But they already laid off
chunk.
100 earlier this year,
Mhm.
back in like the spring. So that's 280 for them. There's like a competition.
And like Peterson said, Amazon Game Studios doesn't have like a strong pedigree to fall back on. Like BioWare puts out a stinker and they're like, come on, we're BioWare. Or like Bungie shits the bed with Destiny and we're like, hey, we're Bungie though. Dude, Amazon has nothing. They've done nothing but shit their pants ever since their inception.
And like the hard part is they don't have a parent company with a lot of money to fall back on.
No, just the customers.
They have all of the money. Amazon has all the money. And they're just like, they got to it's when they have to lay people off, it seems like a joke because they've got so much money.
Can't buy taste, Peterson. But wait, there's more because 505 Games' parent company, Digital Bros, has laid off 30% of their staff, claiming that players exclusively want more of the same old stuff.
Well,
Digital Bros, right up there with Game Mill in terms of just extraordinarily self-aware game company names. Like, I don't even
we know what we are.
That.
We know what we are.
Wait, Peterson, what would be the equivalent name if we were going to be this self-aware for this podcast? Two idiots talking about video games. That would be the name of the podcast.
The Uninformed.
The Uninformed Idiots. But these guys, Digital Bros, have decided to can 30% of 505 Games is not like a small studio. It's not like a new studio. They've been around for fucking million years. I'm going to read this statement from the Digital Bros. God, what a bunch of fuckholes.
But just the fact that they're called the Digital Bros, like I already know what their CEO looks like, and I honestly have never seen a picture of him, but I know what he looks like.
Will you Google Digital Bros CEO while I read this statement? I will. Quote, the video game market has evolved since the pandemic to be more selective in terms of new games, with consumers increasingly reverting to well-established intellectual properties and playing these games for same games for longer periods. Digital Bros' strategy has had to adapt to this new and evolving competitive scenario and will focus its efforts moving forward on the release of sequels and new versions of previously successful and established games with a limited number of new, larger budget productions. This is just right up there with just saying exactly like the things that you're not supposed to fucking say. In just openly, the fact that they just come out, they're like, all we're doing is sequels and remakes because that's all you idiots want, and we're canning 30% of the people that don't do that stuff. Dude, I can't imagine more of a dead canary in a coal mine for the employees at 505 Games than this. They're just going to turn this into a sequel shop, a remake shop. Like that's so bleak. That statement of all the statements we've read recently revolving layoffs, this is probably the worst worded one I've seen.
Well, they are Italian.
CEO?
It's two Italian brothers, which is maybe the playoff of Mario Bros.
Yeah.
Galante is their last name. They're older than I thought they would be, but still douchey. Yeah, like douchey gray hair guys. Yeah, so
I feel like, and this isn't like to say they are, but I feel like for an Italian person, to douchey is pretty, like you can get there pretty easy.
Yeah. Didn't we say Italians are the worst gamers too? Wasn't that a thing we talked about? Like
They're the most ambivalent gamers. They just do it because it's there.
That's why they're only
That's
doing.
like the intent. That's like,
Dude,
yeah,
this
that's the
is
dude
the
here.
approach. We have to like these two stories need to be together because
Mhm.
they're like, you guys don't want new content. You just
You
want the
button
old.
down your shirt, 2 more buttons, you light a cigarette,
You only play
and you're
video
there.
games because you don't know what else to do. Like you're not even having fun doing it.
Yeah,
So
so this is let me see. I actually want to look up like what 505 games. Like I've seen the name and you guys probably are familiar with the name because you've seen it on games you've played in the past. But yeah, there are quite a few. Let's see. Death Stranding, they did the PC release for that. Did they do a lot? Dead by Daylight,
they do. Yeah, they have tons of stuff.
Payday 2, Sniper Elite, Control.
Gunfire Reborn was a big one on Steam. Ghost Runner. Yeah, they've got a ton.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have a whole lot less. They're just gonna be
Hellblade.
doing more of the same and not doing any new stuff.
We don't want. No one needs it. No one wants that.
Oh,
New
dude, I
stuff
bet these
isn't
guys were
fun.
real douchebags when they were younger, though.
You see them? Yeah.
Well, they're so, yeah, I feel like it just looks so, so shiny.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
shiny.
the studio lighting.
That's a selling point at the studio.
Ugh. Squeaky voiced teens everywhere tremble as Epic Games announces voice reporting in Fortnite.
And this is interesting because they're like, yeah, it's recording it all too. And so you can just report it and add that timestamp to your report.
It's like a dash cam. If you guys have ever used a dash cam before where it's constantly recording, but it like loops every 5 minutes. But if you get in an accident, you just click the button and it grabs the last 5 minutes or so, plus the next 5 minutes. So it knows to snatch it. That's the same thing with this. You turn this on. This is a feature you toggle on or off, and it will just snatch the last 5 minutes of voice chat if you decide to report of conversation. So basically what you hear, and Peterson, correct me if I'm wrong, there is proximity chat when you're running around in Fortnite. So if some kid's running around with his mic open, dropping slurs, all you need to do is just record that.
I honestly, part of me is a little confused because I've never heard proximity chat in this game, but that might just be because I immediately turned it off. Because why?
Right.
Why? I don't want to
so
talk to anybody in Fortnite ever.
I would be curious to know how many people don't do that, how many people leave it on, or they want to harass people, and so.
They all do. This is the worst.
Yeah, so
they all want to harass. I hear my kids playing, and I'm like, ugh. I can only imagine the scummier kids out there.
I'd be curious if they're going to try to use AI for this. It says they're going to send it to Epic moderators, which I find that is, you can build a program where you can flip through images at like an obscene rate for content moderation. But I would be very curious, especially if it sends a 5-minute clip and you don't really know where in the clip it is, if they have dedicated people that are actually going to listen to this, or they're going to use AI to just look for words.
They should use AI.
Shit. Yeah, I'm curious to see, but either way, now you have a response when someone says they fucked your mom, is that you can report them. Unless you're like a normal person like Peterson and you turned that off like 6 years ago.
Like immediately, first thing you do, turn down the volume, turn off proximity chat. It's like two things right away.
Out of touch gaming publisher Atlas has raised salaries for its employees by 15% across the board. What? Are they even paying attention?
They did not get the memo.
They tried to go out of business? Stupid morons. 15% raises for everyone? They did.
Idiots.
They're going to go out of business. They're not smart like Embracer, which is just thriving amidst their layoffs. They did this to make the company more attractive and competitive for global talent, as well as retaining current staff and expanding operations to create a workplace where employees can, quote, perform to the best of their ability through a stable income. Hey, I think I remember this guy named Henry Ford came up with a similar idea like 100 fucking years ago. Go figure. No one could buy his cars unless he paid him well enough.
Dude,
Uh,
nobody buys Ford cars anymore. Why are you talking about Ford? It's Tesla now. JD, as you sound so
uh,
old.
also went on to say, quote, additionally, due to strong overseas business development starting in fiscal 2021, we will be paying performance bonuses funded by worldwide profits. So not too shab from the folks at Atlas. I will make one note, and I think it was actually called out in this article. Let me see that the pay rate in Japan for game developers is quite a bit lower.
It seemed pretty low.
Current exchange rates, the average salary for a Japanese game developer is around 35,000,
And I think
which you
Japan's
die here.
still kind of makes, yeah, like you're in poverty at that point.
Die in America at 35,000. I don't know if there's some sort of social net in Japan. Not here. We just spend it all on bombs and these airplanes that no one gets to see.
Gotta go get them.
But those airplanes have bombs too. Also, we can't see those. Anyway, yeah, so it is good to see at least one studio realizing that if they increase their wages, they can snatch up some of these people who are I mean, they have it's just easy pickings right now.
Yeah, but here's
Thousands
the
of people laid off.
these guys actually make money, right? They make
Yeah.
Persona games, so they're making a ton of money. Other companies, though, haven't made any money this year, have they? That's been a pretty bad year for gaming.
Yeah,
companies.
no, the big AAA games, the indie games, just kind of across the board, most games have just been doing poor. I think I saw some
It's been a bad year for
articles. It's like
games.
2023, the worst year in gaming history. Kind of
Nobody's
stuff.
made any
Terrible
money.
profits. Like the industry hasn't like doubled in size or anything recently. So yeah, this is a risky move. We'll see how it pays off for them.
Maybe we'll get Persona 6. That's probably what's going to happen. And then they'll make $1 billion on that game too, because they know what they're doing.
Fortnite has finally added age restrictions, but it doesn't seem to. Who wrote this?
You wrote it. I didn't write this one. Don't try to blame me.
Try this again. Fortnite has finally added age restrictions, but it doesn't seem they gave it much thought. Dude, it's late. That's me writing at like 9 p.m. That fucking mess. I am so sorry. What a disaster.
Hey, no, I know what you're saying.
Dude, I've been working on my portfolio all day as like a professional writer. I'm like, fuck, I gotta go back and redo the whole thing. Ah, shit. Anyway, another Fortnite story. News is a little dry today, but you're getting what you're getting because this one's fucking hilarious. Did you see?
This one is funny.
So apparently, Fortnite they must have just gotten some advertiser, some cross promotional somebody had a compliance officer actually open Fortnite and look at it, and they were like, "What the fuck?" First of all, I started a game, and I think an 8-year-old said the N-word 600 times while I was trying to play.
He squeaked the N-word at me. It didn't feel right.
Squeaking it. And then I watched that same 12-year-old dressed up as The Rock with a machine gun down some pop star and then teabag her corpse. And this game is rated what now? So it seems like the content moderation team at Epic got a few directives from on high. This one was that some of these skins are not appropriate for kids. Now, Peterson, I'm not familiar with this. Apparently, there are teen areas of the game now.
Like,
yeah, fuck reinforce that.
It's like a creative area where there's like different types of maps. Sometimes like kids play them. I don't at all because they're like it's always some stupid game like game mode that you're playing. They're not fun. Kids like them sometimes. I don't think they're fun at all.
Well, that's apparently the only place you can use some skins now. Other skins have a big warning added to them that they are restricted from certain maps. But there's no rhyme or reason to how these things have been restricted.
It's like anyone that shows a gun, even though like you're running around with guns in the game, but if the skin has guns on it,
yeah, or like a magazine or a banana. or knives. They
Some
aren't good, but
knives.
swords and scythes are good. You
Even
got
though
swords are cool.
even though you have pickaxes that are
Mm,
like swords and axes and stuff, that
no.
some of
And then
those
there's
are
this
banned.
one of my favorite ones is this monkey quote back bling, whatever the fuck
I
back
know I
bling is.
couldn't figure out why
It's like a
that's
monkey backpack.
yeah, it's like a backpack.
It doesn't matter. And so the best part is that Fortnite tweets like the next day, oh fuck, oops, our bad. Welp, our plan for cosmetics with the ratings update didn't hit the mark. We're working on a few new options that we hope to have in place for, say, some sort of big in-game event. Stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. So
Okay.
they just blow up the game. They're like, we'll just blow up the whole game and fix it.
They didn't. I noticed that they didn't do anything with the absolute dump truck butts that some of the skins have, which
Yeah.
is
Well, they wanted people to still play the game.
which is
They
way
also didn't.
better than the guns that like Domino is carrying, you
Yeah.
know?
No.
So
They get rid of those dump truck butts. We firebomb the studios. We riot.
you got to keep those butts shapely, and just their pants super tight.
Like
That's what you
like
gotta,
an ass I can rest a can of soda on.
yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
I mean, what am I supposed to look at while I'm parachuting in? That's literally the view is just like straight
Either I'm
into
looking
the
at
butt,
TikToks on my phone or I'm just watching that ass.
watching that culo drop.
Game Mill's mill-like approach to game design strikes again, this time with a Walking Dead game that looks like a bad PlayStation 1 game.
The Game Mill, I honestly hope they keep pumping stuff out because the content is so fantastic.
Dude, we got an Asylum game studio. We were
That's
asking for one
100%.
for fucking ever on this podcast, and we got it. In fact, Peter said, "Let's play it. Let's play the Nostradam Jadius."
You want any excuse to play it.
Nostradam Jadius.
We called this Game Mill comes out. Unlike the Asylum, so this would be like if the Asylum was called Movie Mill or like Movie Factory, which I think even a factory implies a little bit more crafting of the end product than a mill. But this newest one is it's called The Walking Dead Destinies. I fucking hate that name. And it's based on the AMC show, like 100%. It's not just like the Telltale
it's
games,
not the comic books, it's
or the
not
comic books or whatever. Yeah. It's like got the same music,
it's got
same
Daryl
soundtrack, same characters. Yes,
what's his face? Norman
Dude,
Reedus. Yeah,
I gotta say, there's some takes on this because it looks like shit.
It
Obviously,
looks
looks
terrible.
But my number one thing that just absolutely killed me is that the cinematics are just static models, like 3D models, and the screen just like slowly zooms in on them. Honestly, if you've ever watched these like living comic book animations or whatever, where basically the camera just pans over the comic book panels and then they read the bubbles out loud, that's kind of what this is like. But it's 100%. A video game cinematic in 2023.
It's incredible, JD.
Unreal, dude. I am so hyped because this means if they've done so, the King Kong thing was like seemed like a one-off, right? It seemed like we weren't going to get that lucky again because it was funny and it was like a recognizable property. But I thought at least, these idiots aren't going to be able to get their hand on any serious intellectual property, not just like a random ripoff.
Nope.
Mid-century property. But no, they got AMC's The Walking Dead to let them make their video game, and it's just a steaming pile of shit, and it came out like a month after Skull Island Rise of Kong.
It looks terrible, guys. I can't reiterate, you need to go watch videos about this because it looks terrible. Like JD said, the cinematics are funny. Like, it's funny to watch. It's so bad. The voice acting is bad. It's all bad. I kind of obsessed with it. I was reading a little bit about this, and you start off the game. The whole thing is like it follows the story, but you can change it. So you start off with a boss fight between Shane and Rick. Rick ends up in the AMC, or in the comics too. Rick leads the group, right? He's the leader. Shane was his buddy. They were cops together. Shane dies at some point in the series, but in this, Shane can become the leader because they fight each other with guns. And I watched a cinematic where Shane was shooting Rick in the face with a shotgun like 10 times. And he's like, it's a boss fight. You're fighting another, and like there's just a bullet sponge.
I remember that about Rick in the series, that he gets shot.
He did
almost
get
every
shot
episode.
a lot in the face.
Yeah, in the face. Oh, that was his thing. They called him old shotgun face Rick.
And incredible. It's so bad, like nonsense. This game is nonsense.
Did you play we talked about it on this podcast, the Cobra Kai video game?
I did not play it.
They made that too. Dude, these guys are just on fire.
How
they stole their logo.
This?
The font for their logo is literally the same font for the Dreamcast, the Sega Dreamcast.
Like
they
the
just
Game Mill one?
That. Yeah, they just ripped it off. Go to gamemill.com.
It's
literally the exact same font.
This might be my new favorite studio, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, dude, they did Nickelodeon. Look at Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
Letter.
It is, right? It looks exactly like the Dreamcast.
100%.
Dude, these guys are awesome. I like these guys. I like that they made G.I. Joe Operation Blackout and this game called Street Outlaws, which looks like it features Fred Durst and like a fat Undertaker.
I'm so obsessed with these guys. I'm gonna spend the rest of the podcast.
Monster Jam.
You're gonna talk while I just look at this stuff.
I'm like, Peterson, are you distracted? You're like, yeah, I was looking at their Big Hero 6 Battle in the Bay.
Battle in the Bay. How did they get this stuff?
I think that's their biggest impressive thing, is whoever works in their like intellectual property team that manages to secure these rights. Dude, must be a genius.
Or he just knows everybody. Everyone owes him money. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Everyone owes him money. Let me find it.
Riblets. Scoot that plastic basket a little closer. I want some damn riblets.
Slurp it up.
Slurp up them riblets. Riblets are our little meat nuggets of news. They can't wrap themselves around a full rib, so you just get a riblet. A little bit. Monopoly Go has made history as the biggest mobile game launch of 2023. Is that history?
I didn't even hear about this.
The fuck? Well, it made history. That apparently Monopoly Go has made $1 billion in revenue. They're making $200 million a month. This is like Clash of Clans numbers.
Yeah.
But
is it
for
kids are discovering
what is
Monopoly again?
The most boring board game of all time. Now, I like Monopoly because I'm one of those odd ducks that will sit down and play Monopoly. But who is playing Monopoly Go?
I don't even know. But now I'm kind of intrigued, and I kind of want to play it.
I'm kind of interested too. I wonder how fast it goes. Maybe it's like Pokemon Go, and you're actually just like trying to buy properties in real life.
Walk around and buy your neighbor's house.
You like throw dice and stuff. Yeah, that's the only way millennials can actually afford a house is so Monopoly Go money is just like wish fulfillment for Gen Z.
And making a ton of money doing it.
And yeah, you pay fucking $1 billion for it. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora has gone gold. Do you know what that means? I've been in and around this industry for over a decade and have never once thought to see what the fuck. I thought gold was that they'd like they had like 1 million pre-orders or something.
What does it mean?
No.
Do you know?
It means it's ready to ship. It's like good to go. Like they're on the final build, like good to ship.
Oh,
it's gone gold. I don't know.
That's not what I was thinking at all when I saw this.
That.
I was like, oh yeah, they like exactly what you said, like going platinum.
Bunch of exactly.
It's like you sell a bunch of albums. A certain
amount of albums. So you always hear that a game's gone gold before, and that's what I think. The that Notorious picture of the guy holding the No Man's Sky disc. That's what they were celebrating, as having gone gold. And I just interpreted it that they had sold 1 million pre-orders, but no. So
Wow.
Frontiers of Pandora is ready to go. I'm sticking by it. I think it's gonna be a good game.
Dude, I said the same thing. Like it everything I saw, I was like,
so
this
stupid
game looks like it's
gonna
be
be Far
good.
Cry Avatar
Yeah.
Far Cry.
Yeah.
And Peterson and I play every Far Cry game because we're stupid.
I don't know why it just hits the spot. It hits.
It's just for 1 month, and then we're like, oh, our membership's up. Fuck
yeah,
you.
like I'm done. Like I enjoyed that. Did I
play
finish?
this
I don't know.
Stupid game. Ugh. And looks like the latest stop for Musty D is the company founded by the directors of Avengers Endgame, the Russos, which we already knew that Donald Mustard, our favorite guy that hates us, probably. If he actually ever listens to the podcast, he probably doesn't like us. If he never listened
anymore
to any episode other than the one he was on, he probably thinks very fondly of us.
No, on that one episode, I called him Musty D after, not to his face, after we recorded.
That's why he never fucking responds to my emails anymore.
Yeah, it's my fault.
It's all right. It was worth it. It's funny. Musty D is
worth
funny.
it.
But yeah, dude, this guy was on set and played an extra in Endgame. Like there's a picture of him hanging out with Robert Downey Jr. So he knows these dudes, and now he is officially listed as a partner on ABGO's website. Partner.
What is it? I don't know what any of this means.
So he retired after 15 years at Epic. And now he's at so ABGO recently produced Everything Everywhere All at Once, that big one.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he's gonna be, I don't know, maybe he's just says he's a director, producer, writer, and game designer.
Is that dude, he's gonna start making the Sanderson stuff. The movies, he's doing all of it.
You were fucking joking, but I want you to write this down because there is a non-zero chance that's exactly what's fucking happening here.
No, like for real, because
he's buddies with Sanderson.
They're good
he's
friends.
Gonna be this go-between who's gonna be who's the fucking guy that like ran the MCU for like Kevin Feige or whatever. Feige, whatever. Yeah. That's Donald Mustard. He's gonna come in and be the guiding light of the whole Cosmere.
Oh man. That would be crazy, but
dude, we gotta get Musty D back.
Oh, we'll get him. We're gonna get him and Sanderson. I'll be like,
more charming nickname. Yeah, because I found out, guys, if you remember the electrician I gave kudos to a couple months back actually did electrical work on Sanderson's house. So
that's our in.
That's our fucking in.
Okay, let's
apprenticeship.
Yeah,
as electricians. Yeah, and then we go cut some wires.
We just go into dude, it's like a heist movie now. We don't know what we're doing, but now we're working on Sanderson's basement.
I remember every heist movie I've ever seen starts with the heisters announcing their plans on a publicly disseminated podcast.
Here's the funny thing: nobody listens to it, so we're good.
That's the beauty of having 25 listeners, dude.
Dude, when the Netflix special is made about the heist of Sanderson's house, they'll go back and be like, "This was
right in front of everybody."
They
announced their entire plan and laughed about it.
They talked about it.
Anyone listening?
Honestly, too long. They talked about it for too long. It was.
And then it does a smash cut.
Turned it off.
Silverthorne's sitting there. He's like, I don't know. I guess I should have reported it, but I'm like the only person that listens. I was someone else would do it.
I was interested to see what would happen.
Kudos is our positivity segment where we give shout outs to things that are good in our life. Oh my God, I have the goodest thing in my life right now. I can't wait. High Chews, yogurt high chews.
Yeah, these are dope. You haven't had these before?
What the fuck? Where were you? Why didn't you I bought these on Amazon like a sap. Because I didn't know. I've never seen them before. I thought they were new. Where did you find them?
I've just seen them places. I don't know. Do you pay attention to the high chew section at every store you go to.
I pay attention to the hygiene? Do I pay? Fucking serious right now? Are you
I'm
being
sorry.
serious?
I know what right when it's coming out of my mouth, I knew I was stupid.
Okay, so I saw these on Reddit or something. Someone was like, "What's the best Haichu flavor?" And I was like, "What the shit? You guys have? You guys remember I talked about the fantasy mix that
Those
had
ones
like
are good.
blue Hawaii and these other
Yeah.
good flavors, dude. In my opinion, this blows those away.
Which one do you like the best out of that mix?
Plain yogurt,
It's
and then
weird, right?
strawberry.
Plain yogurt is weird that it's good.
What I've learned from buying snacks on Desert Drinks and Exotics is that Americans vastly underutilize yogurt flavoring in their candy and other snacks. There should be yogurt dipped Oreos. We don't have them. Those are the types of things that we should be getting yogurt fucking everything. There should be yogurt centered Oreos. There should be yogurt cookies. And we did have yogurt Skittles for a minute there, and they were pretty dope. And then they stopped doing them. So I'm saying it's like grossly underutilized. So when I see yogurt and candy, I'm like fucking all over it. And these were amazing. They got blueberry, strawberry, and plain yogurt. Like Peterson said, plain is the best.
It's weird how good it is. Yeah. My kids, I think the problem is because it's like it's a yogurt is, I'd say, a more mature flavor.
Sure.
Like my kids didn't like the plain yogurt one, but I was into it. So I don't know. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I'm super all about these Haichus. If you guys see them, drop a line in our Discord. Let me know where you've spotted them. Because Peterson has been delinquent in his duties of informing me of new Haichu flavors.
I'm so sorry.
What do you got? What is this bukkake you got here?
This is 2 episodes in a row now where we've mentioned bukkake. And that is
Trent hits us up after last week's soda. He's like, guys, I'm so sorry. I said
you can delete that if you want. And I was like, why would I
fucking
delete
podcast
that?
do you think
We'll say it again. We'll say it
We'll say
again.
bukkake 5 times. Bukkake.
Actually, we're gonna explain to you now what bukkake is in case you weren't familiar. Just so we're all on the same page.
There's no misunderstandings.
Okay. I don't know how to say it. Probably it's furikake. Furikake. It's okay. It is a Japanese condiment, but it is it's sprinkled onto cooked rice.
Oh, for a second I thought you were still talking about bukkake, but keep going.
No,
Japanese
I said
condiment
sprinkled.
on,
I said sprinkled. Bukkake. There's no
splashed.
sprinkling. Sprayed. No, furikake is I'm just gonna stop. Just look it up online. No, it is a dry seasoning you put on, and I have had a few different flavors now. My son has a Korean friend whose mom, every time he eats at their house, whose mom makes Korean food, but she puts this on their rice. And my son was like, "What is this?" So she's like, "You got to bring some home for your dad," because I guess he always says how much I love food. So he's brought home 2 different packets of this now. I'm definitely ordering a 4-pack on Amazon. I already have it in my basket.
What the fuck?
You sprinkle it on rice. It has nori, so if you don't like seaweed, like you're probably not going to be super into it.
But it's like shredded up. It's like
it's like shredded up and with
Yeah.
other seasonings. It's crazy, JD. The more I eat it, the more I like
I'm
it.
putting this on our shopping list right now because we eat so much white rice, and
So do
sometimes
we.
we're too lazy to like actually do it up, and so we just eat it like fucking plain with like salt and pepper, like
Put like
total
soy
scrubs.
sauce on it when I'm real lazy.
Yeah, so this sounds genius.
Try it out. Honestly, fantastic. I was eating rice and I put some on and I was like, "Oh, this is good." And like I said, the more I was eating it, the more I liked it. And then I'm like, that's like my lunch. I'm like, "Oh, I got some rice. I'm gonna fill up a bowl of rice, put some of these furikake on it." And I did add a little.
Genius.
Sometimes I add a little bit of something else. Like I added, I chopped up some. Oh gosh, now I can't think of any of the Korean words. The kimchi and the gochujang sauce. I put up a little bit of that in there with it. It's incredible. Just try it.
Gotta get fancy with
cheap.
that rice.
Furikake is cheap, so it is not like hard to buy. I think there's a 4-pack you can buy on Amazon for like $9. I can send you the link, and they're 4 different flavors. And so I want to try all the flavors, but I'm way into it right now. Dress up your rice, guys. Quit eating plain rice. Japan has been doing this for however forever. That's what they eat, and they know what they're doing. So take note and try out their seasoning because it is awesome.
Okay.
We heard about you in the alpha, and we played you in the beta. You were a hot mess early access, so we put you down for years. It's time to revisit, it's time to revisit. Revisiting hours are here.
That's just my favorite shit. I like
It's so good. It's so stupid.
Revisiting hours is when we come back to a game that we haven't played in a minute. But we're like, hey, I went back and played that game. What the shit? It's different. 'Cause that's what games do
Something
now.
changed.
And Peterson has a revisiting hours for us for Baldur's Gate 3.
One of the biggest games of the year. So I played this initially like 3 years ago. They released it in early access. I had just come off of playing Larian Studios' other game. Oh gosh, what was that one called? Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh yeah, you loved that.
And this was the same. This is the same feel, same type of thing. And so, but it's Baldur's Gate. So we knew it was going to be big. They released it in early access. I played it and I was honestly kind of not into it. My biggest complaint, if I remember right, was the characters. Hated them. You immediately like, this is an RPG where you are kind of, it's based off of D&D. This is digital D&D, 100%. You're getting your character, you're developing them, but you're meeting other characters and adding them to your group and going around doing your adventure with this crew. And then you get to combat, and it's kind of a turn-based situation based off your initiative, just like D&D. And you have a movement. So it's like a grid-based, but you've got like range that you can. That's not really grid. I'd say grid is like not a good way to put it. It's more like distance based because like
Okay.
actual grid, but it feels
It's
like
not,
there
is it like action points then?
action points and movement distance, that sort of thing. So you can do like move and do one major action and one minor action. Like a major action is like an attack. Minor action is like drink a potion type of thing. And so all the characters have all these stats, all these abilities. When I first played it, I mean, obviously I was like, okay, I know this game going to be good. I know what it is. Okay. But it didn't feel as good as Divinity. The story wasn't grabbing me. The characters weren't grabbing me. So I came back in, finally started playing again. And wow. I know everyone has said all the good things you can ever hear about Baldur's Gate 3, but it all fits. This game is playing D&D. So you build your character, and it is deep. I mean, the character creator took me a solid 45 minutes at least.
Is this one where you choose your genitals?
You can choose your genitals, yeah.
So that the actual character creator took you like 5 minutes and then 40 minutes on the junk.
And then I had to go through all the different classes and look at all the different penises and stuff like that.
Do they have horns or anything?
What kind of pubic hairs do the dragon people have, if
I don't
any?
know.
Do they have hair?
They have scales.
Scales. They have pubic scales.
Pubic scales. What are those like?
A little thicker. No, so the character creator takes a long time though, because there's so many options to pick, just like in D&D. Okay, you're gonna pick your race. Okay, and there was a bunch. There's like 8 or 9 different races you could choose from, and they all had you. And the UI was really great in this because you could mouse over everything, and it would like explain it in detail what this meant. Then you could click on it, and there was more detail. And then you'd pick like your background, and you'd pick your subclass, and you'd pick so there was all these things to pick. Then your starting abilities, then where are you going to put your points and all that stuff. So I built myself an elf character who I just watched the trailer for Reacher season 2, which is quick plug. If you have
Oh my
not,
God. Yeah.
I'm so stoked.
We're going to be gushing about Reacher up here in a second.
I kid you not, JD, since I've watched that, that's all I've wanted. I keep just scrolling through all of the services.
When will it
like,
appear? When will
can I
it show
get
up
something
on Amazon?
like
Yep.
Reacher? So I built a Reacher character, a giant elf guy, and he's all melee, up in your face, huge. He looks like
Doesn't hit
Reacher.
soft.
Yep, big guy, smart, right? I made sure he was smart, but like huge, and then so you go through, you get your characters. What I like about this, I love rolling dice, JD. In the first in Divinity Original Sin, like it was all based off dice rolls, but you weren't seeing the dice rolls. This game has dice rolls. And not for every attack, because that would take forever.
Yeah.
But like when you're doing your chat, when you're going through the chat options, there are like dice modifiers, and if you pick a dice option, which will like change different things, a D20 will pop up. All your modifiers pop up, and it says you need a 10 to succeed or whatever, and then
That's
you
kinda
roll.
cool.
And then it like hits your roll, adds the modifiers. Here's why you succeeded or you failed, right? So you can straight up fail in chat options, and
I'm watching one of those right now. That's crazy.
Changes what happens, and it's super interesting. All of your attacks and all the attacks against you have a dice roll incorporated, but it doesn't show it because it'll say like, "Oh, you failed. Your Constitution failed for this." Like, it'll just say that. And so you're really building your character based off of what you want your modifiers to be. +1 to my Constitution dice rolls, +1 to my Dexterity dice roll, right?
Yeah.
But then when the characters level up, and my biggest complaint about playing D&D with my kids was when we would level up, it took me 2 hours because I was like, oh, now I got to go through and, oh, this guy's a wizard, so he gets 2 more spells. Here's all the spells he can choose from. I got to figure out you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same way, obviously not as big, but like a character levels up and you are choosing spells, cantrips, you're choosing all of his next abilities, and not just like in any other RPG, you're just assigning stat points, right?
Yeah.
This isn't that. You are leveling up like you level up in D&D. So this feels like D&D. And honestly, it's in a very good way. It's done very well. It feels good. And then you go to coming to the gameplay. The gameplay of it is these very turn-based battles. And what I'll say, I'm playing on normal difficulty. It's hard. It's hard. In a lot of these like JRPGs, you always feel OP at some point. Like you're like, especially at the beginning, you're like, my character just murders everything. That's not the case, dude. So I've got this Jack Reacher character, up in your face combat style.
Yeah.
He gets beat. He dies or almost dies every single fight.
It looks slow too. Like as you're describing it, it seems like everything from the combat to the decisions and all the other things.
Yeah, you're not blowing through stuff. In fact, a lot of the fights I have to do 2 or 3 times. Almost every fight I do 2 or 3 times. The big ones especially, because something will happen, someone will die, and you're like, I can't have that. So I gotta, because you can like resurrect characters and stuff. It is still a video game, but like they die, and you're like, I can't have that. I can't afford for this guy to die. So I'm save scumming so hard on this game, constantly. I learned the hard way, where I'm like, oh, when did I save last? And you're like, because not only that, but it also has like that Fallout element where you go through every room you go in, you're like looking in every box, opening every chest, looking in the vases, like going around the room, just like looting the room, because you need lots of good loot.
Yeah.
And this game is not like some RPGs like start feeding you good loot. You play Diablo, you're finding better weapons. You're doing that sort of stuff. Not this.
No.
Getting a better weapon is hard. In fact, I'm 20 plus hours in, which isn't a lot for this game, but a lot of my characters still have their original weapon. Like,
Oh,
I
wow.
am not finding
You got to
great.
earn it.
Yeah, you really have to work for it and earn it, which again, I kind of like because then it makes it feel special. You find a magical weapon, you're like so stoked. Here we go. This is it. You have one character who eats magical weapons. You have to, like every day or so, he needs a magical weapon to consume. And so not only that, they're like valuable, but also like you have to do it to keep him alive. Tons of decisions to make in this game. Across the board with your companions. I think I could just like straight up fight one of my companions and kill them if I wanted to. Of course, I'm not going to do that because I like collecting everything. The save state to like heal your whole party is kind of cool. At any point, you can just it's like it says return to camp, and you go to camp, and you've been looting items throughout that are camp items like healing stuff, like alcohol and wheel of cheese and stuff that you just send to your camp inventory. And those have like so it'll say, okay, to heal your whole party, you need 40 points, and they each have a point value, and you just like consume that stuff to heal your whole party. Then it saves, resets the day, resets all of your like abilities. And because just like D&D, some abilities you can only use once per day. So you gotta like be careful when you use stuff. And so, so there's a lot of thought into this game, because they wanted to make it feel like a tabletop role playing game, which it does. When you're doing the fights, you have to be very strategic. You can't just like run in and just start going ham. Like that's not how it works. You need to have someone's on distance, someone's casting spells. I need a cleric to heal, and I need this guy's I don't have a good shot, so I'm gonna grab this barrel of acid that's over here and use a magic spell to throw it at him,
Has anything considerably changed then from when you first played it? What has like been the most noticeable thing?
The depth of literally everything. Some of the characters are straight up fully revamped. Like one of the characters that I hated, he's a completely different character now. Like everything about him is different, his backstory, everything. So they spent a lot of time on the characters. They spent a ton of time on the character creation. Like you could play this game 10 times and not play with similar like play styles. And so everything is significantly deeper. The combat's deeper. The character creators are deeper. The background stories are deeper. The main story is deeper. Everything across the board. So they did put a lot of love into how beautiful and deep this game actually is, which is why it's getting the accolades that it is. Because this game is a 100+ hour game, and it has so much replayability. There are options you can make. It's not like a linear. So like there are options I can choose. I just had to choose an option to like choose these guys or these guys. And I went up and looked online. I was like, what is the difference? And looking at it was like completely changes this whole part of the game. And so just tons of replayability. I mean, you can play multiplayer. Like you could get this game and we could play it together. You control 2 characters. I control 2 characters. You can run off, do your own thing. I'm like, hey, JD, I'm in a fight. And you can come in and join the fight. And it just adds you to the turn base. Otherwise, you could just be running around doing stuff. So sometimes I do separate my party where I'm controlling them in each individually, start a fight with 1 or 2 characters, and then have the other guys sneak in and get like a sneak attack, which you get bonuses for. So just tons of strategy to it, which is why you do fights multiple times.
Yeah, that's why it keeps you coming back to, is that layer, that level of depth.
Very good. Honestly, I'm trying to think if I have any complaints about this game. I think my biggest complaint, I mean, you can hold a ton of inventory, which I love, right? Because I collect everything. Like my guy is holding like 40 weapons on him, you know what I mean? And it's all weight based, so it's not like Fallout where it goes real fast. And each of your characters, you have 4 people in your party, and they can each carry that much. So you just got like so much inventory. I don't
but
know
not
if I have
finding anything good.
not finding weapons, but you can
Yeah.
buy them. So you're collecting inventory so you can sell stuff and buy a weapon, which they're not cheap. So I'm at that point still early where I don't have like unlimited gold. I'm sure I'll hit that point where I've got so much gold it doesn't matter, right? I guess I'd say my main complaint is part of the UI does not make it super intuitive on some things like crafting. I could tell I was getting recipes for stuff like potions, and I did not know how to make them. I had to go look up online, and once I found it, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of a weird place to like hide it." Felt like it was hiding, but once you figured it out, it was pretty easy to do. But there are a few UI things like that where I'm like, "What? Where? I don't even know where to look." Because usually these games have like menu stuff all around the screen, and this one kind of doesn't. You got to like click tab and it's in the character screen. You got to click on the character and like go into it. And so that's probably my main complaint. But other than that, this game is outstanding. Outstanding. And again, I wasn't super stoked to play it based on my early access playthrough. So I just wasn't feeling the characters and stuff like that because original Divinity Original Sin 2 was so good. But now I'm fully in. I'm like
How
into
many
the
hours you put
characters.
into this?
It feels like I've played honestly, it feels like I'm just at the beginning of the game and I'm 25 hours in.
That is
So
crazy.
it doesn't even feel like I've played that much too. I feel like I've played 6 hours and I'm like, "Holy crap, I've played 25? How?" It's crazy. It's a good game, man. Good game. So that's my revisiting review of Divinity Original Sin 2. If you like tabletop games, if you like RPGs, if you like turn-based strategy, this is a must play. Get it.
I love that. Dude, thanks for revisiting Baldur's Gate 3 for us.
Dice of Destiny.
Ready. Dice of Destiny is this fun game we play at the end of every episode. We roll a 6-sided dice to see who will be playing, and rolling the dice of Destiny itself, a 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres assigned to it. Then we roll another 6-sided dice to see how much money they can spend on the game. They find a game in that genre, price, pick it, play it, review it. And I recently, last week, rolled a game with a female protagonist for $40. And I picked a game that was on Peterson's wish list. And then he's like, check this out. And I found it was on my wish list as well. It's called Signalis. Is that right?
Yeah, Signalis.
Sorry, I was trying to look it up on the store. It is a survival. Not a survival? It's a horror. Yeah, survival horror.
Yeah,
And
survival horror, top
dark.
down.
It looks interesting. It looks like it's got puzzly elements to it and stuff. I don't know. It kind of looks like what I'm in for right now.
Yeah,
oddly.
it looks like something we don't typically play.
But it's on both of our wish lists. So something tickled our funny bone about this. I don't know what.
Absolutely. I've had it on my wish list for a while now and like honestly waiting for like a dice roll that would get me this game.
Yeah.
It looks good. It honestly looks really good.
So I'm going to be checking that out. I will let you guys know how Signalis is next week. And oh wait, do we also have?
We've got Trent's review.
We got Trent's review, so we'll spin that
Trent,
now.
Trent has a crazy week with work, so he recorded it for us and sent it to us. So let's play that now.
Well, thanks for playing, Trent.
That's what Trent thought about the game.
Thought it was so spooky or something, probably. All right. That does it for us this week. To play us out, we've got the main theme from Baldur's Gate.
I'm not happy about this. This is my biggest complaint. This song from the credits, I immediately try to hit play so it gets away from it. This is
you guys get to enjoy
music.
it now.
It's real bad.
You're so lucky. Okay, that's all we've got for this week. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving out there. eat a bunch of food, poop your pants, take a nice nap. Standard Thanksgiving fare. I'm JD, logging off.
This is Peterson going AFK.
Dude, Snorgle, Abby, thanks for dropping by, you guys.
Thanks, man.
I didn't switch over to the chat until like 5 minutes ago, so I missed all this.
I know I missed a bunch of their chat until way late.
Dude, I'm so bad at this, but yeah, thanks for swinging by, guys.
All right. I'm hitting end. Just it's taking a second for some reason.
Yeah, Jenna just got home, or she's been home for a minute, and I could hear her, and I was like, I'm gonna be too distracted to do.
Yeah.
Kinder
No, it's fine. It's totally fine.
Okay.
It's still loading. Hold on.
Yeah, it's not even stopping.
Having trouble.